Your future self is waiting for you to decide. I posted on my community tab a few weeks ago and I asked you guys if you ever struggle with social media, consuming social media, having a social media addiction, etc. And if you needed any tips or advice on that. And a lot of you guys told me that you were struggling. A lot of you were saying that you were struggling with comparison. You struggle with being jealous of other people's lives. Some of you were saying you don't know how to regulate your emotions. So when you're feeling very overwhelmed, you go on social media and you just scroll. A lot of you were also saying that you get stuck watching motivational videos, but to the point where you don't take any action. Honestly, overall, what I got from a lot of those comments were you guys were feeling very disempowered. You guys are feeling very drained from social media and in general, not really being the version of you that you know you should be or you want to be. Originally, I wanted to make a video on different tips and advice that I can give you guys that are struggling with this, which I actually still will. But I was thinking about something this morning as I was journaling, and I realized that I needed to say this message in this video. And the realization that I came to this morning, but also I've been really coming to this realization probably the past few months, is the things that you are wishing and hoping to happen in your life is not going to come from being the person that you are right now. The thoughts that you're thinking, the beliefs that you're holding, the actions that you're not taking. This doesn't mean that you are not inherently valuable and you are not inherently worthy for who you are right now. We love ourselves, we can accept ourselves. But the truth of the matter is, in order to get what you want in your life, you need to become a new version of you. Let's take confidence, for example. If you want to be somebody who is confident, something has to change. What usually has to change? Your mindset, your perception of yourself. And on top of that, most likely something to do with your actions, something to make you actually feel like that you have something to feel confident about. When it comes to your mindset is influenced by others around you, the things that you consume online. So in order for your mindset to change, there is going to need to be a change in your life. There's going to need to be some healing. There's going to need to be some work going on in the background in order for you to change your mind so that you can change your perception of yourself so that you can feel more confident. You are not going to become a confident person by sitting around and waiting to be confident one day. Waiting to be healed, waiting to get the relationship of your dreams, waiting for $1 million in your bank account. There is nothing to wait for. The problem that you're facing, and I've faced it as well, so I'm right there with you, is that you are waiting to become that person. You are waiting to become the wife. You're waiting to become the girlfriend. You're waiting for the $1 million. You're waiting for your dream career. You're waiting for X, Y, and Z instead of becoming that version of you right now. In order for you to be your future self that you think about all day, every day, it's going to require you to change something right now. There's no more wishing and hoping that you are going to be that person. You need to start acting like that person now. You need to start thinking like that person. You need to start taking action from that place. Ultimately, you need to decide what you want in your life. I feel like a lot of people in life, they are waiting to let other people make decisions for them. They are waiting to see if they get what they want. They're waiting for the perfect moment when this opportunity is gonna fall on their lap. They are waiting to feel 100% confident before they go out into the world and start dating or have relationships. The truth is, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. You can become the person that you want to be right now. It's going to take practice. It's not going to feel comfortable. It's also not even gonna feel believable half the time because you're gonna have negative thoughts and old stories pop in your head every day, all day saying, oh no, this is not you right now. You can't be confident or you can't be happy right now or you can't get what you want. But that's what the work is. That's where the work starts, is you every single day retraining your mind and telling yourself a new story. Telling yourself that you will be getting what you want in your life. I used to be somebody who just daydreamed. I used to be somebody who would spend hours on Tumblr just wishing and hoping that I would get that life that I really wanted, but I never took any action. I was always telling myself, when I have money or when I have the body or when I have X, Y, and Z, then I'll be happy. And until I decided to be happy now, to be happy with what I have, to decide what I get to have in my life, to decide that I'm going exactly for what I want in my life, only then did I actually get what I wanted in my life because I became that person. I never became the person of my dreams, the woman of my dreams, not being the woman of my dreams, not acting like the version of me that gets what she wants, not loving herself, not accepting herself, not retraining her mind. I found a quote on Pinterest that I think that will really explain what it is that I'm talking about here. Wanting positive experience is a negative experience. Accepting negative experience is a positive experience. It's what the philosopher Alan Watts used to refer to as the backwards law. The idea that the more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become, as pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. The more you desperately want to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel, regardless of how much money you actually make. The more desperately you want to be sexy and desired, the uglier you come to see yourself, regardless of your actual physical appearance. The more you desperately want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become, regardless of those who surround you. The more you want to be spiritually enlightened, the more self-centered and shallow you become in trying to get there. The more you tell yourself that you are not this person yet, and instead you are waiting and you are hoping and you are praying, the more we tend to feel like we are in lack, like we don't have the body, we don't have the money, we don't have X, Y, and Z. This is not to deny reality. This is not to ignore the fact that yes, you have certain negative circumstances in your life. When I was broke, I knew I was freaking broke. When I was unhealthy, I knew I had health conditions. When I was lonely and depressed and sad, I knew that that's what I was feeling. And what I did in those moments was first acknowledge where I was. I went deeper to see why I was in that place in the first place, why I was broke, why I was depressed, why I was unhealthy. I learned ways in which I could heal from that. But in that moment, I started to be grateful for the things that I had in my life. I stopped stressing about all the things that I didn't have. I stopped looking at my future self like this part of me that was so far away that I can't get it and I don't know if it's gonna happen and I can't trust it's gonna happen. I stopped looking at everyone else's life like I couldn't get that. And thinking back to so many times, but one of them, when I had nerve pain in my hands for almost 2 years, there was something that switched within my mindset. And that was realizing that if I was gonna get out of hand pain, if I was gonna get out of any sort of health issue, it wasn't going to be from a place of disempowerment, a place of waiting, a place of scarcity, a place of being in the victim mentality. It wasn't going to do that. When you are disempowered, when you don't trust that things are gonna happen for you, you are stressed, you take very misaligned action. You don't get up and try and take the best care of yourself as possible. You don't even think that you're deserving of it. You think that everything is not worth it. You think that the actions that you're taking might not even pan out. Versus when you start to focus on the things that do make you feel good in this moment right now, and you start to believe that the actions that you are taking from a very feel-good place will get you where you want, you will start to become that version, the one that you've been thinking about in your head right now. There is nothing to wait for. There is nothing to wait for. And in order for you to stop waiting, you need to become the person that you want to be right now. So ask yourself, who do you want to become? The version of you that has what they want. How do they think? How do they feel? What do they do on their day-to-day basis? And then ask yourself, how is it that you, the version of you right now, is getting in the way? What thoughts are you thinking? What actions are you taking that is getting in the way of you and your future self, you and the person that you're constantly thinking about being? And then learn how to address the blocks. Learn how to address the thoughts and the actions that you are currently taking right now that's getting in the way. Now, we all get in our own ways in many different ways, so it's going to be up to you to figure out, okay, what is the best plan of action for me to actually address the parts of me that are essentially sabotaging the newest version of me. And I think something that can be helpful is just simply becoming aware of the thoughts that you think, the stories that you're telling yourself in regards to most things that you do in your day-to-day life, like how you go out and socialize, or when you're going to the gym, or when you're trying to change a new habit. What are the things that you're telling yourself before you do these things? And you are going to need to tell yourself a new story. You are going to have to think differently. You're going to have to start looking at yourself differently. You're going to have to start trying new things. You're going to have to practice becoming a new version of you every single day until it becomes ingrained in you. And you have to remind yourself, you've been acting and thinking and believing a certain way for a very, very long time. So to expect yourself tomorrow or in a few days after you do a few journal practices that you're just gonna be this new version of you, that's not how it's going to be. And it's gonna feel very uncomfortable. You're going to have a lot of subconscious beliefs pop up when you are trying to think new thoughts about yourself, but it doesn't mean you will not change. You have to persist through these things. You have to keep reminding yourself that you are changing a belief system. You are becoming a new version of you, that you get what you want in your life. And you have to work through those triggers when they come up. It's going to be up to you to tell yourself a new story when you do start to spiral, or when you do start to do behaviors that you know is really just from the old version of you. And when I find myself witnessing, oh, okay, there's like this little negative story, or I'm getting triggered by something that was like the old version of me, I will literally tell myself out loud or in my head, I'm not gonna go there. This story, this belief, this hyper focus on a certain situation right now that's causing me stress and anxiety, this is simply from an old program that has happened in the past, a trauma, something that I've learned, I picked up, but it's not my truth. And I no longer want to identify as that person who holds that thing, that belief, that thinks that way. And then I follow up with something that I do want to believe, that I do want to persist in. And I remind myself, I get to decide. I get to decide the story that I tell myself. And something that's also important to remind yourself is like any negative story that you have, any low self-worth thought or feeling, or, you know, hyperfixation about something, you got to remind yourself, like, this is not a normal thing. You did not, I promise you, you just did not come here on earth to have all these shitty stories about yourself, very low self-worth, having no confidence, feeling like crap about yourself all the time, not getting what you want in your life. It doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense. And I tell myself that if I'm trying to go for something that I really want in my life and I'm afraid and I have these old stories telling myself how I can't do it or I'm not good enough or whatever, I tell myself that doesn't make any sense. Of course I'm here to evolve and grow and become a new version of me. Yes, I'm afraid. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Half the reason why I feel uncomfortable and I'm afraid is because I have this crappy programming from childhood, from society, from things that were really out of my control, but I no longer have to persist in that story anymore. That doesn't need to be my story. That is the thing. You are a victim to your story. This is not to say the things that happened in your life didn't actually happen. This is not to say that you need to maybe mourn the loss or you need to like express your emotions. You need to cry about it. You need to feel angry about it. You need to go through that process. Yes. But your story doesn't need to be your story forever, especially if that story is keeping you stuck. And most people in life are stuck because of their stories that they're telling themselves, the narratives that are going on into their mind and that are keeping them stuck. So again, it's going to be up to you to create a practice every single day if you really want to be this version of you. And bringing it back to the social media thing, and we're gonna get into some tips, but like, you gotta stop wasting your life watching other people live theirs, live the life that you really want, when really you could live it now. And again, the reason why you think that you can't live it now is because you're looking at your negative circumstance and being like, oh my God, no, well, I don't have the body, or I don't have the money, or I don't have this and that. Stop focusing on the things that you don't have and focus on the things that you do have. And in turn, you will take action from that place and you will create more abundance that way. You will create that life. A journal practice that I like to do in the morning, every single morning, is doing self-concept journaling. So I like to view myself as the best version of myself. All the best thoughts, having what I want, living the life of my dreams. So I journal from that place. I journal from the place of I am beautiful. I am a mother. I am a wife. I have my dream career. And I go into details, obviously, but I journal from that place. And I journal from that place because realistically, I am that person. Just because my actual 3D reality is not showing me that I have a ring or that I have a child, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to assume myself to become that version of me. I'm going to get into that feeling state every single morning. I'm going to focus my attention on exactly what I want in my life, and I'm going to take action from that place. And the more times that I do that, I continue to bring in people, opportunities, money, everything that I want that creates that version of me. I no longer worry about the things that aren't going right in my life. I am no longer victim to my story, to my negative beliefs. This doesn't mean that I'm perfect. When they pop up in my mind, I already told you guys, I make sure to continuously have an internal dialogue going on. And that is also how I keep very stable and grounded and emotionally regulated on times where, yes, things aren't going great, or yeah, people are acting weird, or things didn't work out. I come back to myself. I remind myself of who I am. I remind myself of what I want in my life. And I do this practice consistently, and I do it with all areas of my life. And sometimes I wake up and I don't even really need to do any more reminding of who I really am, because I can naturally assume myself to be this person even if I don't have exactly what I want yet in my life. I know and trust that it's here, it's coming, it's already done. There's nothing to wait for. There's nothing to beg for. There's nothing to hope and pray for. It is happening. I'm good. So I truly invite you to do some sort of practice every single morning to get your mind where it needs to be and ignore all of the excess noise, the negative circumstances, your old story, the things that are not working in your life. I promise you, hyper focusing on those things will not get you to where it is that you want. Now, obviously, depending on where you're at in your life, you might need to do extra work in terms of like going to therapy or doing coaching. I'm actually going to be opening up my one-on-one coaching. So make sure that you're following me on Instagram, Alicia Gogan, to keep up to date with that. But it's really going to be up to you to keep focused and to retrain your mind, meaning doing something every day. And a few more pieces of advice when it comes to wasting your life, social media addiction, because that's kind of what we started with this video, is this. When it comes to comparing yourself to other people on social media when you are on social media, take my word for it, it is never the full picture. You will never, ever, ever, no matter what, see the full picture of what is going on in someone else's head, at home, their finances, their love life, their whatever. You need to remind yourself of that. Is it unfair that we don't really get to see everything? Maybe, doesn't matter. You need to remind yourself that it's never the full picture. Stop comparing yourself to people in which you do not even know. Make sure to have a social media detox if you need to. Unfollow people that are triggering you. Do what you need to do and start to consume content that is right. If you want to be on social media, start consuming people who are more real, who are showing you what you want to see in your life. Now, when it comes to jealousy, listen, it's okay that you feel jealous because realistically, this is really what it means when you are jealous. It means that you have some internal belief that you have been telling yourself when it comes to that thing that you're jealous about, and you're telling yourself that you can't have that thing. You're telling yourself that you are never going to have that thing, or that you are not good enough to have that thing. Whatever it is, when you get jealous of something, it's because you believe you can't or you are not that. You need to address that belief. When you see somebody being successful and they have a lot of money, what do you believe about yourself and your success and where you will go? I can guarantee you it's probably not good. If you catch yourself feeling jealous, it's time to go inwards, addressing the belief that you might be holding about this thing, and use that as fuel. Use that as motivation to become a better version of yourself. Now, when it comes to emotionally regulating your emotions, because a lot of you said that you scroll into the abyss because when you're really overwhelmed, you don't know what to do, so you just scroll. It is so important that you break certain cycles when it comes to trying to self-soothe yourself. This is honestly like where all addiction starts anyways. Like if you're talking about drugs, alcohol, unhealthy eating, like everything, scrolling for hours. You really need to break this pattern. And I find trying to break the pattern somatically can be very helpful. And when I mean somatically, I just mean involving your body. Again, I'm just gonna give you my tips, but obviously therapy can definitely help, even going to a somatic therapist. But writing a list of things that you can do physically to break your cycles can be very helpful in the moment in which you are feeling very overwhelmed and you naturally are about to go scroll or you're about to do something that you know is not gonna be the healthiest for you. And instead trying to do something on your list before you go and scroll. Because the thing is, it's not like you're going to be perfect with it, right? There's gonna be times where you are very aware that you're about to emotionally eat or you're about to scroll on social media and you can't really stop it and you just do it. This is gonna take practice. But there's gonna be some times where you have a little bit of that window before you actually decide to go in and start scrolling. But what can be very helpful is to have a list in your mind, but on paper as well, of like 3 to 5 things that you know that will kind of snap you out of it. But reminding yourself that this thing doesn't need to fix all your problems. Like you might go on a walk and you still want to end up scrolling. Like that might not be enough. So just look at these things as tools in your toolbox. This doesn't need to be the end all be all, because I think that sometimes when we try to go for a hot girl walk, or we try to listen to music, or we try to go talk to our friends to like stop us from spiraling or scrolling, and when it doesn't work and we don't feel better, we think, oh, it wasn't worth it. I'm just gonna keep scrolling. Well, the reason why you're doing that is because you're looking at these things like they need to make you feel good, or else you're not doing them. And realistically, you should be doing these things because they're healthy for you. So going out into nature, listening to a podcast, listening to a content creator that's gonna get your mind right, addressing why you are actually in this moment feeling the urge to go and scroll. What's going on in your life? What did you think about before you went to go scroll? That is something that I really do, is when I have the urge to emotionally eat, or I have the urge to go scroll, or just do something that I know is not the most healthy for me, I will stop myself before doing that thing and I will go journal. I will literally ask myself, I will write out on the piece of paper, what am I feeling right now? because there is something that I'm feeling. There is something going on in here that is making me feel the urge to go to do something that I've done in the past, AKA what the old version of me has learned how to do. And I don't want to be her anymore. So I'm going to write out my emotions. I'm going to say what I feel. I'm going to express it all out. And honestly, watch how things change for you. This is not to say that things are going to completely transform in your life, but I promise you, it feels so good to do that. Okay, another thing. When it comes to feeling like you're getting stuck watching motivational content but not actually taking any action, this is something that's really helped me. And I started saying this years ago to myself when I realized that all I was doing was scrolling but taking no action, is that you are either a consumer or you're a creator, and you need to know when you've overstayed your welcome. Because this is the thing. There is a fine line of you going on YouTube or Pinterest or Instagram and getting motivated. It can be very helpful. I think that YouTube has changed my life in terms of being a consumer, for sure. I have learned so much from YouTube. But when you start to have those thoughts in your head, and you have them, I know you do, you're very aware of when you know you are not taking action anymore, you need to remind yourself that I need to stop watching another YouTube video or another motivational video because I am not taking action. You need to start telling yourself that you are becoming too much of a consumer, and you need to go and create. You need to go and take action. And I don't even mean you need to be a content creator, but you need to go and do something with your life. Like, think about it. Everyone else is going to live their lives. And on top of that, if we're talking about content creators, these content creators are making money, okay? At the end of the day, yes, we make money. And we make money for very good reason, because we are very helpful and valuable to our communities. But at the end of the day, if you're going to spend your entire existence being that consumer, there is an issue. Go and make money. Go and do something. Go be productive. If you want to live the life that you see everyone else living, it's going to require you to actually go and live the life. Honestly, even for myself, being a content creator, like, there are times where I know that I need to maybe dive into a new course. I need to learn something that I haven't really been learning because I've been creating and I've been putting out a lot of things. So then I come inwards and I take that time to slow down and to bring in some information, some new information, to expand my mind, whatever it is. But I always know internally where that line has been crossed, to the point where now I'm consuming too much. All of the information that I'm consuming, I'm really not outputting. I'm not putting anything out into play. So become very honest with yourself when it comes to you crossing that line. Realize when you have overstayed your welcome. And the last thing, regarding the responding back to people all the time and feeling very drained because there's always something to do or somebody to get back to, I really do think that this is more so a manifestation of the scarcity mindset. If you think that people will not stay in your life, or opportunities will not be there for you, or things won't work out, you tend to take quick action. You tend to constantly respond because you think that that thing is not going to be there if you just take a moment. So really addressing the beliefs that you hold when it comes to, let's say, relationships. Let's say you're texting people back all the time, asking yourself, why do I feel like I have to text back right this second? And usually it's because, if I don't respond right now, then they're going to leave. You don't want to be in that situation. When it comes to relationships, you should be with somebody where you know inherently that you are so valuable and worthy that of course this person is going to be there. Of course this person's gonna wait for you if you need to take a second to text back. Even when it comes to opportunities, if you need a second to make a decision or take some time, or you need to keep working on your craft, just give yourself that time. There's opportunities everywhere. Things are endless. Again, it's the scarcity versus abundance mindset. If you aren't trusting that there's endless amounts of opportunity and money, then you are gonna start to hop on things that are just not even aligned because you believe that there's nothing good out there. And that's no way to live. That's no way to have relationships. That's no way to create a career. But it's really going to require you to retrain your mind, for you to tell yourself a new story every single day, for you to start recognizing the old version of you and how she or he shows up every single day in your life. When you're taking certain actions, ask yourself, is it the old version of me doing this thing right now, or is it the new version of me? What would the new version of me do right now? Would the new version of me sit in her bed and talk herself out of going to the gym? Or would the new version of me get up and go to the gym because that's what she does, because she's fit and she's healthy and she takes care of herself? Would the new version of me be chasing and stressing and overanalyzing and second guessing her worth? Or would the new version of me, the one that's a wife, know that she is valuable, know that the person that she's talking to is not going anywhere. Knows that she has herself and that if anything does happen, she's gonna be okay and that nothing is inherently wrong with her. You need to start thinking and acting like that person because you're not gonna have that reality if you are not that person. You just aren't, obviously, because you don't have that thing, you don't have that life, you don't have X, Y, and Z. It's because you don't think and act like that person right now. There's nothing to wait for. Enough with wasting your life watching other people live theirs. And remind yourself that your future self, your highest version, your whatever you wanna call yourself, is simply just waiting for you to decide to become that person right now, today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Again, especially if you are interested in doing one-on-one coaching, I will be having that very soon. I also have a podcast channel, the Glow Up Secrets Podcast, if you're interested, on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel because I know some of you guys are not subscribed yet. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.